Hello and welcome to another edition of Capital Market Live on Channels Television. I am Will Ibang. We take a look, as always, at how your investment performed this week. But as always, we go first to other markets outside Nigeria and see how they performed. We start with Europe, where markets moved lower on Friday as attention turned to the EU and the US inflation prints, along with investor concerns about the potential for a UK tax rate on banks. And the pan-European stock 600 was 0.6% lower to close for Friday. Regionally, we saw the UK's FTSE 100 closing down 0.32% at 9,187 points. We also see the CAC 40 in Germany down for that Friday, and Germany's DAX also falling by 0.6%. Now look at Asia markets now. Traded mixed on Friday, breaking ranks with Wall Street, with investors assessing economic data from Japan. Now see Japan's Nikkei 225 slid 0.26% to close at 42,718.47 points after core consumer prices in Tokyo rose at a slower pace in August. Now Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index added a 0.32% to 25,000 points, while we saw mainland Shanghai's index rising 0.37 to close at 3,857 points. Now let's look at the US, how they performed at the close of business. On Friday, we see it falling as investors took some money off the table into a long weekend following a new S&P 500 record and solid Nvidia earnings this week. Now, new inflation data showed rising prices was still a risk heading into the new month. And the S&P 500 ended the day 0.64% lower. We see the Dow Jones down Friday 0.2%, and the Nasdaq that was down 1.15%. But still, the S&P 500 scored its fourth winning for a month in a row. And now let's look at Nigerian markets now and see how that performed. We start with the unlisted equities market. The NASD exchange closed the week mixed as the security index fell 0.55% to 3,619 points, while market capitalization dipped 0.5% to 2.17 trillion naira. Now, trading volume was also down 31% to 74.02 billion units, and value was also down 61.87% to 146 billion naira. Deals, we saw it jumping to 208. Now, IGI topped gainers, followed by IPWC PLC and Food Concept PLC. On the losers chart, Juice Fluids shed 0.2% to 4.94 naira. Friesland Campina Wamco fell 3.74% to 65 naira 46 kobo, and First Trust Mortgage Bank PLC dipped 4.76% to 60 kobo. Now, the most traded stocks were Purple Real Estate Income PLC, IPA PLC, and Friesland Campina Wamco Nigeria. Let's go now to trading on the NGX, the floor of the exchange. It closed lower. We're seeing the third consecutive close for the week. Negative close. All share index fell 0.5% to 140,000 points, and we see market cap also dropping to about 88 trillion naira there. Investors traded 3.18 billion shares worth 85.39 billion naira in 142,477 deals. Now, this is weaker from what we saw in the prior week. Sector performance was mostly bearish. Banking was down, consumer goods down, industrial, almost all indexes were down for the week. Now, top gainers were McNichols PLC. We see NEM Insurance up, and we saw Beggar Paints leading. But on the losers side, we've seen Secure Electronic Technology PLC. We see Guinea Insurance PLC and Lasaco Assurance down, the top three for the week. Now, FCMB Group, Champion Breweries, and Access Holdings were the most traded stocks for the week. Now, still in the news for this week, we're seeing Access Holdings has appointed Innocent Ike as its group managing director and CEO effective August the 29th this year, after receiving regulatory approval. His appointment follows the resignation of Roosevelt Ogbonna from the board, and this is in line with the new central bank corporate governance rules. Now, Ike takes over from Bolaji Agbede, who served in acting capacity for 18 months after the passing of late Herbert Wigwe. Now, with over 30 years of banking experience, including leading Polaris Bank and a decade at Access Bank, Ike is stepping in a pivotal moment. Meanwhile, the shares of Access Holdings fell for Friday. We see when we saw that news, we saw consecutive days on Thursday and Friday. The shares fell following that news. But to help us unpack that and more, we have joining us via Zoom Mr. Aruna Kebira, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Global View Capital Limited. And in the studio with us is Mr. Charles Fakuga, stockbroker and capital market analyst. Good to have you both join us today. Good to have you, Mr. Charles, join us. And Mr. Fakuga, good to have you join us on the show. It's good to have you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Charles, with the confirmation of Mr. Innocent Ike, a lot of people have been wondering, is he stepping into big shoes? Yeah, a lot to fill here, seeing the track record of Mr. Obunna, what he has done for Access Holdings while he was, in that position as a board member. Do you see this impacting investor confidence in any way?
Well, if you look at it very well, I would say congratulations to the Access Corporation, because they have made a choice that he's supposed to be there. He is not new in the banking or financial sector. Over 30 years experience. At one point in time was general manager, this bank, that bank, So he's coming with a wealth of experience. Both capital market, he's also a stockbroker and also a bank and a chartered accountant. So you can see that he coming to Access Corporation is a welcome development. For me, I think it's an appointment he well deserved, and all he needs is just cooperation from the people in Access Corporation, because they have gotten somebody who is going to take that financial institution to the next level. Yes, what are the investors? But I think you're going to see positive investor sentiment when it comes to Access Corporation, because Ike Innocent is a man of integrity, honesty, and a professional par excellence. I am speaking this way because I have interacted with him and I know what he's made of. In all his career, you can see it, spanning over 30 years. And if the board and management of the corporation, that's Access Corp, see him fit to occupy that position, then of course, it tells you they have done their own work very well. And it's all coming for him. Because at one point in time, he also worked in Access Bank. So I would say, congratulations to Access Corporation, congratulations to Ike Innocent, and of course, congratulations to the financial service industry and particularly my community, the stockbrokers and traders. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to ask Mr. Aruna this question now. Looking at the stock market on Thursday and Friday, we expected a jump, possibly a reaction to the news that Mr. Innocent Ike is taking over as Group CEO. But we saw the stock price dip. Was that in reaction to the news, or was just the market dynamics playing out there?
Yeah, I don't think it is a reaction to the appointment of the new GMD. It has to do with the market. If you look at it, that the market has actually been traded down. One, the reason was because we understand that in the money market, the body language of the government in the money market are beginning to be positive, and risks are actually looking up. Yes, it could be that, in the market, the number of settlements normally come in, especially when there is a new appointment like this. The question is that we always have the doubting Thomases, that what will this going to do? You understand, too, that as a human being, especially when you are making waves in your choosing area, you just have to have enemies. There are people that might actually be divested because it was him that was appointed. But if you look at it, a thoroughbred financial guru, you should also put at the back of your mind the watchword for Access Bank, that they want to be the world's most respected Africa financial service group. And the appointment of this man is, to me, I think it's a strategic choice for continuity and expansion. So the stock are actually traded down between Thursday and Friday is not really in tandem with his appointment. Whether he was appointed or not, the banking sector, especially because there have been delay in the release of audited quarter 2 financial that would have led to payment of Ethereum. People have actually been divested from the banking stocks. So I don't think that was exactly what was responsible for the drop in the price of asset core during the week.
Mr. Aruna, you raised some interesting points there. You talked about strategy, but this shake-up we are seeing in Access Holdings, especially Mr. Roosevelt's moving from the board position, we know this is in line with the central bank's new directive, but how do you see this strengthening Access Holdings governance in the long term, or is it just going to disrupt their strategy that they have probably for now?
You know, one of the things I also have at the back of my mind, especially concerning assets, I've actually looked at that stock over time. I remember when assets were doing 7 naira, we were telling people that that bank has no reason to trade within that price band. And the assets, like we know, are actually in acquisition spree, acquiring one bank here or the other. And the unexpected happened. The man who's supposed to be the arrowhead was snatched by the cold hand of death suddenly. But I believe the presence of the chairman and the presence of Ike to give support and direction. Remember, yes, Albert and Ike may have the dream, but they would have penciled it down even before that the demise of Albert happened. And you know, gone are those days that leaders will try as much as possible to hold down their followers so that they will not succeed them. But that is gone, because one of the quality of a good leader now is succession plan. I believe that he would have penned down most of the aspiration and the dreams of the organization, and want it be prepared and be guided well by the chairman, because he's always there to have an overview of whatever that's happening. I don't think there's any problem that we will have with the Access Bank. The synergetic effect of their acquisition, as we speak, has actually have not been coming in. Why? Because you know, when you are acquiring, there will be associated costs, and that associated cost will take a lot of time before you can really write them off. Why you can even see the bank access core price at 27, because the consolidation has actually not been concluded yet, and the synergetic effect is not seen. I don't really think that we have any problem by the appointment of this man.
That we are asked now, Mr. Charles. You talked about you welcomed, Mr. Innocent, on board as Group CEO. He's got a track record also extensive.
Yes.
He's banking and into digital innovation. What strategic shifts to investors be expecting under his leadership?
Yes, I'm not saying any much diversion or a divergence from the current strategy Access Bank has, because like my colleague mentioned there, succession planning and Access Core has that culture. So, yes, it was just unfortunate that the soul strive wherever he is. The demise Group CEO, yes, Albert Wigwe, and Ike also fits that shoe. And the strategies are already there. So he being somebody who has also worked in that bank at that level, he got a position of a general manager there. So he's not new. So all those strategies, like my colleague mentioned, they're already in place. So he's just going to implement them. And of course, with the cooperation and collaboration with the staff of Access Core, and of course the chairman who is still there, of course they will take the bank or that financial institution to the next level. So for me, I don't see much change in their strategy. Because if you look at it, Ike Wonsi is coming with his own wealth of experience, gathered also from Access Bank as at that time. So for me, it's like homecoming for him, and he's going to really do well.
Okay, we're talking of homecoming, and the market has been tepid for some time now. We've seen 3 consecutive, negative close for 3 straight weeks now. And we've had the SEC DG, when he was in Brazil, speaking to the president, talking about a 300 trillion naira market capitalization for the total capital markets by the end of 2025. I don't know. How realistic do you see the capital markets achieving this target?
Okay, let's look at it this way. When my DG, that's the SEC DG, Dr. Motimi Agam, when he speaks, he's speaking out of conviction. He's speaking out of what he is doing. And of course, he knows what he's talking about. He's not the person who just talk, because he's involved in all the operations in the market. He's in touch with every aspect of the capital market. Now, when he's telling you that we're going to be having, or we can hit 300 trillion naira by the end of this year, it is possible. But again, he's not looking at only the equities markets. We're looking at the fixed income, we're looking at ETFs and other funds.
So what is the current valuation of the market? We look at the NGX, we look at the equities market, and maybe fixed income and ETFs.
Yes.
We have that maybe somewhere projected.
Yes, it's there already.
Okay.
The NGX market cap is almost 90 trillion. That of the fixed income, that's equity now. Fixed space is about 54, thereabout. Then the ETFs, funds, it's also about 40 something. 49. So by the time you aggregate all these, you can see that we're already midway. So the DG speaking and telling Nigerians, telling the world that we might eat, it is possible. However, it is left for we, the operators. On their own part as regulators, they are ever ready to collaborate if you are going to deepen the market. Because for me, the essence is not just getting to that 300 trillion naira capitalization. How has the capital market in itself has been able to improve the economy in terms of number of listings? Because when you have number of listings, that will increase the capitalization. So, and that is where the DG is looking at, that we're going to be putting more efforts, innovative strategy to ensure that we attract a lot of companies to come to the market.
Okay.
And when they come to the market, that will inevitably increase the market capitalization. Not only just coming to raise funds, fixed income.
Okay, so we'll definitely be looking out for that. That conversation is something we'll be keeping an eye on, and we'll take a quick moment now. When we come back, capital market continues. Don't go away. Welcome back. Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has set a firm October 31 deadline for all payment companies to migrate to the global ISO 20022 messaging standard. And this applies to banks, mobile money operators, payment solution providers, and all licensed operators across the country. And this means that all payment-related institutions must adopt this globally standardized, data-rich messaging format requiring accurate payer-payee details, merchant IDs, transaction metadata for both domestic and international transactions. Also, mandatory geo-tagging of POS terminals. That means all existing and new terminals must include GPS-based location data, be registered via a payment terminal service aggregator, operate on Android 10 or above, and transmit location data as part of each transaction. All firms must comply or face CBN sanctions. Now, I'll start off with Mr. Aruna. Mr. Aruna Kebira and Mr. Fakoga are still with us here, but we're going to start off with Mr. Aruna. Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Global View Capital Limits. Mr. Aruna, with this hard deadline that we're having from the CBN, the ISO 20022, the migration and POS geotagging, how will this affect, let's say, the smaller, in the short term, smaller companies and fintechs?
I think what will happen, especially what the CBN needs, is that they have to be a migration. It will lead to, in the beginning, especially for those that their Android version is not up to 10, because what I saw was that they have to operate POS, especially POS with Android version 10, because that will act to what we allow them to be able to have a double GPS tracking. I think what will happen is that a number of people will be put out of business temporarily, and it's going to cost the banks a huge lot of money because there are going to be a replacement here and there. And they are going to deploy new infrastructure too, because I believe what they were running, especially the network they were running on before, have to be changed, because if they have to comply with the CBN directive, then they have to, phase out and deactivate most of the POS, and areas where POS are deactivated, they have to supply those that have the Android 10 version. Yes, it's going to put out them temporarily, but the long-run effect, especially why this is being done, I think is going to be is going to benefit even the operator themselves, and it's going to benefit the country and the banks at large. So where the deadline is closed, that you look at it that if you do not put a timeline on a directive like this, people go to sleep. So by the time the timeline is put, then it shows them the seriousness that everybody have to swing into action, and all hands have to be on deck and make it workable. I believe that yes, it's going to be a little bit cumbersome and bring associated costs in the short run, but in the long run, it's going to benefit everybody.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask Mr. Charles Fahoga now. Do you expect this to trigger a consolidation in the markets, especially with the cost implication here? Do you see listed companies coming together, rallying together to just get this done?
Yes. Well, I will not say it might trigger that consolidation, because it's a payment system. It's enhancing payments, which is aimed towards preventing fraud and showing that, yes, our digital infrastructure is really improving, and this is to meet international best standard. We don't have a choice. Yes, I agree with my colleague here in terms of cost, but consolidation, yes, we might see one or two of these payment providers trying to consolidate. But we have an experience. Let me speak from the capital markets. We have what they call the MOS. When that came out, minimum operating standard, we thought most firms are going to consolidate, people are going to leave the market. But at the end of the day, when the operators saw that this thing was for their own benefits, everybody was up and doing. At the end of the day, it came out better, and we saw the daily member firms operating. Now, for this payment system, I see something like that. Yes, there'll be one or two. But at the same time, CBN and the payment system providers will need to collaborate. They need a lot of support, especially those who are operating in the rural areas, in the unbanked sectors of our country. CBN needs to provide training and support for those kind of places. In fact, they should have a special department to begin to work on it, because it's going to be very cumbersome in terms of the cost and trying to improve infrastructure. But what is the end goal? To improve payment system, to reduce fraud, and to integrate and align with international payment system. We have a lot of Nigerians diaspora, so this will make it very seamless. So I think it's a wonderful project. Coming to deadline, I would have said yes from now till December, October 31st. Yeah, that is about roughly just 2 months. I would have said CBN will have done 90 days. Because we knew in the capital market it was 90 days that was given. And we saw that before that deadline, most of the operators have been able to migrate, at the same time upgrade their system. So CBN should do a similar thing. I'm not saying it should extend the deadline, but give support to these people, and at the same time, before that deadline, they should be checking and see the ones that have been able to meet up and the ones that are still struggling, and give them that necessary support. It is not a way of trying to let some of them just leave the market. I mean, we're talking of anti-money laundering, POS system, and this has been going on. People losing money. So if the operator of this payment system, they know that this is going to prevent some of these issues they are going through, they will all support. And I believe CBN should do a lot of work. Those of you in the media should also assist them in bringing awareness, especially to the POS operators, so that they know that this policy, it is not just there to wipe them away, but to enhance their operation and make things easy and meaningful for everybody. Even in the capital, we're going to be seeing easy payments, straight through process. I'm very sure by the time I do my transactions on the floor, I am very, very confident about the payments that is going to my client. For me, that is very, very key.
Okay. Mr. Arono, I just want to ask you, do you share Mr. Pakoga's opinion here?
Yes, I do. I support his opinion. You see, he talked about when the MOS was coming to the capital market, it was being handled. Well, if you ask me, I don't believe the 60 days that it is now is too small, because like I said before, if you do not set deadline, people will be complacent. People will go to sleep. Yes, the CBN actually need to do a lot of training, a lot of market information, that even the POS, especially those in the rural area, will know exactly why this is being done, because you know in a little while people shout, government, government, they want to remove us, they don't want us to eat. It's not actually because they don't want them to eat. And we have seen a lot of things going wrong, especially with the use of POS, especially in the remote area. I had an experience. My house was burgled into. The POS with which they used to transfer money from my account was not registered in Lagos. But this day, wide every day POS is geotagged, and you can know the latitude and the longitude where it was being used. Exactly. Traces can be made, arrests can be made, because those, before now, people take POS from the rural area because they believe that you can readily not link the owners to the POS, come to Lagos and use them for fraudulent activities. I believe what is coming in is to, one, especially the financing of terrorism. We understand that a lot of this ransom money is actually gotten through most of the POS registered in the local areas. If this one now have coordinates, you can exactly know where and how this thing is happening. So I support what you're saying. What I really do not know, once CBN has come out with a policy, I think it will be difficult to change. Like you said, maybe they will be doing a case-by-case evaluation. After 2 months, they will evaluate who has been able to meet up, who has not been able to meet up. The question is, why were you unable to meet up, so that they can provide assistance in whatever area that they can, so that they make everything, the changeover seamless, so that the cost will not actually be a cost that might actually impact the operations of the deposit money banks.
Definitely. We're looking forward to overall transparency in the market, fraud reduction, because that's very key, and overall investor confidence in our capital markets, in our financial markets and financial system as a whole. Thank you so much, Mr. Haruna Kebira, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Global View Capital Limited, and Mr. Charles Fakroga, Capital Market Analyst, Stockbroker. You've been fantastic this evening, both of you. I appreciate you, and we look forward to having you some other time.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
And that's a wrap on another edition of Capital Markets. Remember, whether the markets are bullish or bearish, knowledge is always your best investment. Keep watching, keep learning, and keep growing your financial savvy. You can watch this again on our YouTube channel. I'm Will Ibong. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.